Okay, here's the 8-band. I picked a large one, so it's easier to see the pieces and in relation to my finger as far as size goes. Let's start by taking it apart and finding the one that's marked. There it's marked, it has my name green over here, and it's also marked Sterling over here, S-T-E-R, says. Right, now in this case, if you just locate that one that's marked Sterling, then you'll find 3 at the bottom. Now 2 of them at the bottom are going to make a nice neat pair with a notch in the middle, those 2. And you'll find one that doesn't pair up with those. That one comes up, sits behind the one marked Sterling to make a nice neat pair of that. So you really treat this pair at the top and this pair at the bottom as if they're one piece. So it's really put together like a 6-band, but I needed to explain that, so I have separate instructions for the 8-band ring. So these with the notch is up, the flats are down. On the one marked Sterling, or yours may say 14 karat if it's made out of 14 karat. That's at the top design is toward the ground. Now let's deal with the middle one. So we have that top and bottom pairs arranged nice. In the middle you also need pairs. And these pairs need to point away from each other, like this. So you've got one pair pointing left, one pair pointing right, like that. And if any of these point in, you need to bring them down around on the other side and get them to pair up and point away. So that's the middle ones, nice and neat there. Back to the marked ones at the top. Okay, so marked it here at the top. Middle one's pointing away. Bottom one notch toward the top. Now, the bottom comes toward you and up. Better focus away a little bit. Now, the bottom one is swung as if you're grabbing it from behind, pulling it toward you, and it continues that motion up in front of the one marked Sterling. So again, bottom one up. So it's like it's hinged, or like a book being closed. After it's up there, then you grab the right side here, bring it around to the left side. Now if you're looking down on it, it goes clockwise. But from the side, looking at it endwise here, the right side goes across the front over the left side, turning it around. Now if you've done that correctly, then you have a figure 8 on the top design here, figure 8. The sides go in one loop, out the other of the figure 8. You can see how they can swing through. Notice the tips are still paired up and pointing away from each other. Okay, now slide this pair into the middle, then the other pair into the middle. Now we've got all 4 tips in the middle. Now we still have it arranged so the Sterling is still facing you and the green over here. So you haven't turned the ring around, it's still facing the correct way. And then you start on the closer side here and take just the upper one here, and you start to bring the flat up, and that'll be all done, but you need to pay attention to the tip. The tip in the middle goes up and over the other 3. Kind of like playing leapfrog. This jumps over the other 3 in there, and that one's done. Now I'll go to the other side. The upper one here, we have to get its tip over too. Now I'll put it under just to show you what would be wrong. That one's under. It's got to get over that tip. So I'll have to pull that down. Okay. Now that's up and over that tip. And that one's done. Now back to the first side. There are 2 tips left. The closer tip here has to go around the other tip, up and over. It's just hitting it now. Could get it to go under, but it needs to go over. So I'll push that one out of the way, get this one up and over, and bring the other one up too. So that's the 8-band assembly. You might want to look, if it's on this tape, there's also, I have a 6-band assembly, which goes over the same thing, except you don't have the pairs across the top, so you're not bringing up a pair and turning a pair around. Other than that, it's the same, except for you have one each way in the X instead of a pair. So good luck.